Hello, my name is Kelly McCown. I'm the teacher, author, and owner of Teaching Math and More LLC. Today on the Teaching Math and More channel, we are talking about how to simplify your math class with tips, strategies, and resources to develop a math classroom plan to meet the needs of all your students. The purpose of this video is to help you, the math teacher, learn how to help your students achieve success in math class with these tips. Simplifying is defined as making something less complex or complicated. Let's face it, sometimes our math classrooms can be too complicated and hard to navigate because of all the things on our to-do list. What if there was a way to make your math class plainer or easier for you to manage and for your kids to learn? It doesn't have to be stressful or overwhelming. There are many things you can do, but there is only one you. So let's simplify things for you. Let's look at 5 things to simplify in your math class. Now, number 1, simplify your math centers and stations. Math centers and stations can be a helpful tool in your classroom. Here are some questions to ask yourself about how to run math centers and stations in your classroom. How can you make it easier for your students to complete all of the stations and centers on time? How can you make it easier for you to manage? Number 2, math fluency. Math fluency is an important skill that needs to be practiced in your classroom. Here are some questions to ask yourself about how you can run math fluency in your classroom. How can you make it easier for students to practice fluency in class? How can you make it easier for you to manage math fluency? Number 3, math vocabulary. Math vocabulary needs math class support and practice either weekly or monthly in your classroom. Here are some questions to ask yourself about how to run math vocabulary in your classroom. How can you make it easier for students to practice vocabulary? How can you make it easier for you to manage math vocabulary? Number 4, classroom management. Math classroom management should be easy to implement and run in your classroom. Here are some questions to ask yourself about how to run math classroom management in your room. How can you make it easier for your students to learn responsibility? How can you make it easier for you to manage classroom management? Number 5, math lessons. Math lessons drive instruction and provide direction in your classroom. Here are some questions to ask yourself about how you can structure your math lessons in your classroom. How can you make it easier for your students to learn, practice, and assess skills in class? How can you make it easier for you to manage your math lessons? When going through the practice of simplifying your math class, you may want advice for how it can be easier. Here are 7 tips to make your math class work simplified. Number 1, shorten classwork. Do your students have enough time to complete classwork? Shorten it. Make it simplified. Don't dumb it down. Rather, assign less problems. 8 problems is always solid effort for practice. Number 2, take away non-math skills. Take things out of your math lessons that are not important and distract away from the standards. Does it help students learn a math standard or skill? If not, remove it. Number 3, remove distractions in the classroom. Remove any distractions that will affect your classroom management. Number 4, make an SOP. Make a daily or weekly SOP, standard operating procedures, to simplify your workload. By planning ahead, you can take the stress out of last-minute planning. Having standard operating procedures in classroom management will help you excel. Number 5, limit your to-do list. Having a long, exhaustive daily to-do list is not productive. I repeat, it is not productive. Limit your to-do list to 3 to 5 items that are doable. Number 6, implement systems. Having systems for math centers, math fluency, math vocabulary, classroom management, and math lessons will save you time and energy. Number 7, stop assigning homework. I know, I said it. Homework is something that can be controversial. One way to simplify your math class is to stop assigning math homework. Instead of assigning an additional task for students to do alone at home that may or may not be done, tell students that whatever they don't finish in class is now homework. And that way it's less stressful because students have already started the assignment in class and they just simply have to finish and complete it at home. There is a solution to the problem of how to simplify your math class. Try learning tips to simplify and manage your math class so that it's easier for you to teach and your students to learn. You can plan for increased student learning gains and performance when you use these simplified math class tips. And as a bonus, you will save your time and energy with proven techniques that work. Grab your video notes for this series today. It's a 5-part series on how to simplify your math class. Each quick 6-minute video will give you tips, strategies, and resources to develop a math classroom plan to meet the needs of all your students. Learn how to help your students achieve success in math class with these tips. Included are on-demand video notes, math centers, list of vocabulary terms, vocabulary card templates, class behavior checklists, math lesson plan templates, and more. Get clear on how to simplify your math classroom for student success. The link is in the comments below. For more information about any of the Simplify Your Math Class series, be sure to check the description of this video. Thank you for subscribing to our channel, Teaching Math and More, and we'll see you next time for part 1 of the Simplify Your Math Class video series.